Good evening and welcome to Apostate Coalition. Tonight we're discussing House Bill 1211 and the clergy penitent privilege. Should the sacrament of confession be protected at the cost of victims of abuse? This is the question. This is what we're going to discuss tonight. I'm going to pass it over to the conductor of this wild train, Dr. Time Waster. Thank you. Good evening.
Yes, thank you for that wonderful introduction.
Oh.
Yeah, what a shitty topic we're talking about here, because
It is.
we're being forced to argue this position. We're being forced to fight just to say that, you know what, every adult should probably be a mandatory reporter of child abuse in any situation, no matter how you discover of it, right? But that's apparently just the most shocking thing ever. So here we are talking about it. Washington State House bill, by the way. It's not federal. It's only Washington State we're trying to do this for. So this is their third attempt. We talked about this last week, only we were talking about the Senate bill, which was Senate Bill 5375.
Yeah.
These are identical bills that are being basically put in through the House and the Senate of the Washington State. So I'm sorry, my phone is like totally tweaking out of here. So basically, they're doing the same bill twice just to speed up the process here a little bit. Like either one can pass, but there's always a lot of politics that goes on, and I just call it that for a better word. Sometimes it's for good reason, right? Like sometimes you have to really clarify language because language matters, and so you don't want to make a law and then find out. It hurts a lot of people. But we're here to talk about this bill. It's pretty much the same arguments if you stuck around last week, so stick around. It's gonna be fun. No, I think we have a couple more points to make because there were a couple things we didn't talk about last week when the bill was discussed. And that some different things were brought up. So I think it's fair to talk about it. I got Tyler, I got Dob Stopper, and I got the Queen, Ryan. I can't ask for a better group of people to talk about this.
It's a good bunch for this specific topic. It is.
More people need to know about it. More people probably have to just assume. I would think probably just assume that clergy have to tell. They have to be mandated reporters, but shock.
I mean, okay, so the bill in question is essentially just saying that clergy of all kinds, whatever you want to label them, whatever spiritual leader of the church, elder, priest, pastor, whatever, right? If you are in a religious capacity and you are working with people, children, and you find out about abuse of a child, you should report it. In fact, you have 48 hours to report it. I believe they put a time limit on it. And it was...
Real quick, just how many states have already passed legislation like this?
Yeah. So I think last week we had talked about it, and I had some bad information.
That's a wild. That's why they got a time limit on it. Like I would imagine somebody's like, "Yeah, I got time."
Right. You mean it's wild that we have to say, "Hey,
yeah, you got.
probably
Can you at least get it in 2 days? Can you at least get it in 2 days? And somebody's like,
is 2 days enough for you to like get it out?
But like they'll like day one like I still got time.
I got 2 more minutes on the clock, and
yeah.
Oh no, it's my PTO.
I would think you would tell immediately as soon as the soon as you can tell.
So that's pretty reasonable then. 48 hours is.
Yeah, but it's crazy though. But there's gonna be somebody that's gonna wait out the 48 hours. He ain't gonna rush because he got time.
Obviously, things happen.
But I'm talking about like they doing like regular stuff, like going to like they know this kid getting this, and they say, I tell them after I come from this concert or after I come from this thing because I got 48 hours.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no rush.
No rush.
No rush.
Yeah. So there are, I believe, 28 states in the United States out of 50. So just a little over half actually make clergy mandated reporters. And then of those 28 states, of which Washington State is not one of them, which was surprising to me. 6 of the 28 states that do mandate clergy report are the ones that did not allow a carve out for the penitent privilege or the, sacred seal of spilling your guts to God.
I thought you were gonna say seed. I thought you were gonna say seed.
So there's only 6 other states that
Right.
are have already done exactly what's trying to be done here.
Correct. Yes.
Gotcha.
To intervene, to shift for a quiet little second. Those 2 words said together, spilling seed is just every time I hear it, it's just hilarious.
I didn't say seed, so
I know, but whenever I hear spilling, I assume that's the next thing to come. Because that's how they say it in the Bible. It sounds so weird to say it like that. Yeah, I just spilled it.
Whoops. Whoopsie daisies.
That makes it seem like you just oops, just
give me some ideas for some like sketches where a farmer is carrying around a bunch of sunflower seeds and meets a girl.
What's his name in what's the boy's name in the cave with his daughters?
Lot? Wait, no, it's not.
It is Lot, right?
Not in the cave. Not in the cave, was it?
No, they went in the cave.
Cave.
They went in the cave with the
hide
daughters.
and
then the daughters, the daughters got him drunk. Yeah, sure, I believe that story.
Because he freaked them out and manipulated them to believe that everyone else in the entire world was dead, and if they didn't start now, then all humankind would die.
Think about
Lot was the daughters. Noah was the sons.
Hold on, like people would say if you say that, people would who's deep off in it can't fathom that being a thing. But I said you can look at today's time and see like there are dudes who have trapped their daughters in basements for years and had kids with them and never they came out. Like so I'm like, he kidnapped them girls and he got them girls drunk in that cave. That don't sound believable at all. Not one bit. But yeah, that's just my spiel about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys want to take a guess of the 6 states that priests, even in a confessional, have to tell about abuse? They have to report it.
California?
Nope.
Oregon.
You're thinking liberal states? Is that?
I was assuming.
Yeah, I would assume that it would be blue states.
Okay, so New Hampshire, would that surprise you?
Well, New Hampshire.
Vermont.
Those are states nobody care about.
Rhode Island. Speaking of states we don't care about.
I forgot Rhode Island.
I think Texas protects the right.
Colorado.
Texas is on the list.
Oh, it does. Oh, so they.
No, I think Texas is on the list of those who, regardless of where they hear, even under confessionals, that they have to report.
Oh, okay. So they're okay.
Yeah,
that's one up for us.
And all your priests have been excommunicated, right?
I mean, I don't even know any priests. I don't even know what Catholic church is. I'm pretty sure they're close around.
So the other 3 states is North Carolina, West Virginia, and Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Why you say it like
that? The first 2 was New Hampshire and
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island.
Where New Hampshire is at? I know where it's at in the general area.
Right next to Vermont.
Yeah, right next to it's the Vermont.
What goes on in Vermont?
Bernie Sanders.
I never hear nothing about Vermont. You barely hear anything about Maine. South Dakota, what? What y'all doing?
No, North Dakota is what you're thinking of. South Dakota has the faces in the rocks, and the
I gotta go over
Badlands and all the gold. Well, not anymore. Maybe. No, Black Hills Gold though. Okay, I was actually born.
When I think of that, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was just when you start talking about Montana, I start thinking about Little House on the Prairie.
I started thinking about Bernie Sanders.
To live like that, but
yeah. So, I guess what we're saying is there's precedent, right? This isn't the first time that even a state in this country have said, sorry, I don't care which religion you are. We're not going to pick and choose who gets to have what privileges. And I have an argument of whether that's a privilege or not. But, 6 states have said, regardless of what religion you are, we think you should have to, report abuse. And I can't believe that Washington State, liberal as it fucking is like getting so much pushback on just making
right?
anyone.
There's so much money in the church.
What is frustrating is that this entire bill was brought up because of an investigative report that came out bringing up specifically in Washington State, where Jehovah's Witness elders have been involved in covering up child abuse and how frequent the abuse is around. And that is the reason why this bill originally got started. And they aren't even opposing it as an organization. They don't need to, because they're just standing on the coattails of the Catholics, who they know have more money and will fight this harder than they can. So they just get to sit back and relax. Mm-hmm. They're going to just benefit from this bill not going forward. And they're also, I think, going to start claiming that everything is, sacred as an elder, right? We don't believe in only one little room where you can confess. Anything you say to your elder is a confessional. It's sacred. So we'll never be able to report anything because, everything you say is sacred, which is made up, right? They don't have anything in their doctrine that says anything about confessional or sacred.
It's all freaking made up. It's all a man-made convention. Jesus wasn't confessing anything to anybody.
Right. So this bill wasn't even about Catholics, but they've made it about themselves. And so I think we should dish it. So
it's always about the Catholics.
It's always about the Catholics.
Yeah. Okay. Well, any other thoughts or comments before I move on to something I want to show you guys?
I guess not.
Mm-hmm. What did somebody say here? My brother is an elder and told me that they don't say because they are afraid they will be sued if they tell, maybe going against clergy privilege. Yeah, that was actually a point I was going to make in a few minutes about the Catholic argument that they were having. I totally agree.
I was going to say that it's a really bad look to argue against this bill. So it's very much in all religions' favors that are not Catholics, that the Catholics are in charge of leading the defense.
What are you protecting? What are you honestly arguing for? That's weird. Go for it.
Stuff.
Have at it.
Okay.
Yes, Queens.
I'm stealing this from Ron Pimo's
Thank you, Ron Pimo.
Yes, thank you for your YouTube account where you keep these posted so I can go back and look at them later. So this is the House talking about the same bill, and I'm not gonna play all of it. Obviously, they're just sitting around this table, and if you recognize these ladies from the first one, did we play their testimony? I thought we did, but now I can't remember.
I think we only played 1 or 2 testimonies.
Okay. We did a couple, but I can't remember in the beginning. Let's see.
I know we
This
had Jehovah's
lady,
Witness and I think a Catholic testimony.
their testimony was, I think, even more impactful in the previous one that we watched, or the Senate bill. If I glossed over it, I apologize, because what she was saying was pretty heartbreaking. And then right after she goes, is the Catholic lawyer, her. So I want to get to her, but like I feel bad because now I feel like I totally skipped this lady's. So
Yeah, that one dude, that one priest that turned around and looked
yeah,
back
yeah, yeah.
at the Jehovah's Witness, he creeped me out.
Well, he's in this again.
Yes.
Of course,
He is back.
like a rash you can't get rid of.
Wow, we need to make some memes about this guy and spread his face.
Yeah, let's please
Oh.
make some memes for
Oh,
him. He deserves it.
Well,
my heel.
here is I just want to show this little lady.
Who would like to lead us off?
You can start.
Lead us out in prayer.
Go ahead.
Everyone be on the lookout
Good
for memes.
afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee.
This
What
lady.
up?
I'm Mary Dispenza, SNAP contact for Washington. When I was 18, a young nun, I confessed that I was raped by the parish priest at age 7. The priest went on for 4 more decades to assault little girls. Why? Because he could. The seal of confession protected him. For every assault of a child reported in the confessional, there is an undisclosed predator preying upon children. Confession shields 2 criminals, the perpetrator and the confessor, who really has become an accomplice by not reporting. To call this kind of secrecy a privilege is ludicrous. It is a crime. The responsibility to report crimes against children belongs to all of us, in or outside of the confessional. We are all mandated reporters when it comes to crimes against children. It is vital that Washington State preserve the rule of law when it appears to be diminishing at the federal level. As lawmakers, it is your duty and mine and privilege to keep children safe. Child abuse is epidemic. Priests must report. Thank you for voting yes on HB 1211.
Thank you.
Okay. That woman is a national treasure.
Yes. I want her to be my mom or my grandmom.
Mom.
Okay. Not that I'm gonna diminish the other two, but what she said here is such a condensed in a nice little neat package that you have to say these in like, I don't know, 2 minutes max you get to talk. I don't know, they have timers and stuff. And so she had to squeeze it all in there, right? What she said in the other one was, I think, even, I don't know, I don't want to say it's even more impactful, but it was just heartbreaking. And she's just so smart. Like, how can you deny that? Everyone should be a mandatory reporter. So I just want to compare and contrast here. And so I don't mean to like skip over these other ladies here, but I want to go to the next.
Let's do the reverse image.
Yeah.
The not sweet.
Oh. Boo.
Liberty.
Boo.
You can have the
Liberty. Oh no, I'm gonna get a copyright violation now.
No, I don't want your shit. Okay.
Oh my god, now we're getting all kind of adverts.
Hill to unmute, and on deck will be Bishop Frank Schuster. Jean, whenever you are ready, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Representative Cortez. Thank you, Chair Berquist and committee members. Jean Hill with the Washington State Catholic Conference. I want to be very clear, we support mandatory reporting. We ask simply that this bill follow the majority of states, which also protect the sacrament of confession. While 28 states require clergy reporting, there are only 6 that take the extreme position of denying the clergy penitent privilege. By stripping away the clergy privilege while still protecting the attorney-client privilege, the state essentially says that only those who can pay for a privilege are allowed to speak freely with a trusted advisor despite constitutional protections. Much of the debate is focused on actions occurring in the Catholic Church in the 50s through the 70s before any mandatory reporting laws. I ask you today to recognize the mandatory reporting and other changes in church policies that have been implemented based on our experience with the scandal of abuse, and include an exemption for confidential communications. Doing so recognizes that priests today know how to move conversations about abuse out of the confessional and into a reportable context, and recognizes that discouraging parishioners from talking with their priests is likely to result in abuse continuing, including young victims who may go in thinking they've done something wrong and will never learn that they're not to blame because they're afraid to confess to the priest. I also want to clarify that the AG investigation referred to was not an investigation of abuse. It was a subpoena for receipts and was quashed by the King County Superior Court. While it suggested the Catholic Church is the obstacle to this bill, we are simply asking for a compromise consistent with that made in 22 other states to exempt the confessional. Please leave confidential communication between clergy and parishioners as protected as that between attorneys and clients, both of which have constitutional protection and only one of which the bill tramples. Thank you.
Thank you. Looks like Representative Burnett has a question.
Thank you, Chair. Just a clarifying question. You made the statement of only 6 deny, and you were talking fast, so I didn't quite hear that.
Sorry.
Could you repeat that, please? Thank you.
There's only 6 states that don't have a privilege for clergy in their reporting statutes. 6 of the states that require clergy to report, there's only, of all the states that require clergy to report, only 6 refuse to have a clergy penitent privilege exemption.
Thanks for clearing that up.
We have another question.
Yeah.
Representative Hill.
You sound a little confused.
Yes, my question is around the statement around that most of the sexual abuse scandals were in the, I think you said the 50s, 60s. Being from Spokane and having recently heard, I believe, looking it up, 2024, we had a whole, if you could speak to, if you have knowledge around this more recent scandal where my understanding is Catholic priests were being put in Spokane around Gonzaga University, which there's a St. Al's K through 12 right across the street in that neighborhood. And that there was an attorney general action that was brought in 2024 because charitable funds were being used to hide sexual abuse allegations. So can you speak to, given your statement that this is happening, has happened more in the past, to these recent, very prolific statewide Spokane specific sexual abuse scandal that happened here?
Well, I would have to ask, I'm not familiar with the Spokane scandal. So I don't know if those were priests who had abused prior and were now being brought forward. I will say again, though, the AG's action was not about abuse that was happening. It was looking at receipts, that he wanted receipts from the archdiocese because it was his thought that they were misusing funds to clear up the abuse cases. And that, again, that subpoena was quashed by the court. So there is no ongoing investigation from the AG's office.
Thank you. Vice Chair Cortez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
So she spoke pretty fast.
I
Granted,
love how she started off with using words like extreme and stripped.
yes.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't really pay attention to what she was saying because it just said, I said like, it don't matter what you. I don't care what you're saying.
Well, she was intentionally going
Like-
fast. I was writing fast in order to
pieces.
try to write down my points to
Man,
combat everything that she was saying.
When I say like it ain't no debating with that. Say like nope. You grown as a kid, nope.
And the first thing she mentions is we should follow the majority. Why is that an argument? Like, I know in some cases, like you can say a majority of people aren't racist. Like, okay, but like that's not using majority as an argument. Like that's just nothing.
I think that the lawyers' offices have little posters with logical fallacies on them that they say, "Well, this will make a really, really good case that can delay things for a minute."
I was just gonna say,
and the lawyer.
They talking like see, this is different. She talking like I don't know what it sound like, but she sound like I'm saying like I'm in my mind. I'm like, yo, we talking about kids. Well, I don't care about nothing you saying.
Yeah.
Right.
I really don't.
And
Like
look,
none of
and look,
this.
the thing is, look, the thing is, she's saying like, oh, but the clergy know how to move it out of the confessional. Look, so bitch, what you're saying is you're tying their hands. What you're actually saying is that you're tying priests' hands, but you're not saying that. You're not saying that part. You're
And
trying to dress it up in a different way, in a nice veneer.
they're out here trying to make
Now
it
I need to
convincing.
lie.
I said my thing is like this. I don't understand. Like I said, like as simple as sometimes you can be as a believer. How the basic like yo, it's you're fighting hard. It's like you're like, it's like so you really don't want
Without
kids.
child abuse, you are really doing it out. You are
It
like,
seems like you go. It seems like you all for it. I said like, dang, you really into that belief. You put it over children. That's wild.
you put your face on that. You're not embarrassed. You are
At
not
all.
embarrassed. Being in
At
a room
all.
full of people who are probably abused, who are giving their testimony and their arguments, you're not embarrassed for the things that are coming out of your mouth. Oh my goodness.
That's wild.
And you probably have kids and grandkids. Oh my goodness.
It's so simple.
Uh,
Man, I wish I was in there. If I was in there, I'd be like, I don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear it.
They were like,
I
get
have
him
a
out of
few-
here. Get
I
him
have
out of here,
just
deputy.
a couple that we're gonna go back and look at, but I just wanted to. I did actually dissect what she said, and I had to pause it and rewind it like so many times to catch what that F she was saying. So I wrote them down, and I thought there was a couple that were like specific that I quoted from her. But if I'm gonna bullet point what she said that Catholic religious right for confession is of highest importance. If mandated to report a confession, then less people will confess. And also, if a priest did tell the confession, that priest would be excommunicated. Priest's goal is to get abusers to confess outside of the sacred confessional walls, the ceremonial confessional wall. So then they can trick them to confessing their crimes outside of the technical little barrier that they've created. Mandatory reporting is flawed, so why bother? Removing the penitent privilege is equivalent to removing the attorney-client privilege and claim that it would only lead to the financially capable to afford an attorney to be protected. What I believe what she said was the state essentially says that only those who can pay for a privilege are allowed to speak freely with a trusted advisor despite constitutional protections. Is what she said. That's how I interpreted it, though. That basically only those who can afford to hire an attorney get the privileges to confess their crimes without being tattled on. If I can paraphrase.
I think that yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So it seems like that the Catholic Church wants to be able to not tell and not get in legal trouble, and the alternative. Oh, and they're saying they're going to excommunicate people whether it's illegal or legal.
Right.
So they just don't want the heat of people's attention being on them when it's illegal and people are actually forced to report. And then now the blame is shifted to the actual Catholic Church whenever they're the ones excommunicating the person that was forced to report.
Right. Why can't we just go ahead and let them go ahead and do that? Right. Exactly. Is that the worst possible thing that could happen? Oh no, a priest got excommunicated from not being a priest anymore.
Isn't that the whole thing? You don't have to
Yes.
You don't have to like what do you call it?
Anonymously, yes.
Right. Like you don't have to testify or anything. I mean, I guess you could if you chose.
Your own church doesn't have to know.
Right. So like what are you doing? Like what are you really doing here?
And can we just take a moment and just think about this? So, how shitty is it got to be the person that everybody dumps all of your problems onto, but also sometimes super illegal and horribly unethical things that you can't tell anybody? And I get to walk in and feel good that I just dumped all that off myself, and I just put it on somebody else who now has to carry the burden of knowing that I might be a psychopath. I might be abusing people.
But they want
How's
they
that
want
fair?
people to have that good feeling of knowing that they can be psychopaths and just
Yeah.
give their problems over to God or their
If,
local pastor, and things are all good.
if I was a priest that was hearing people's confessions, I would go into a dissociative state every time people were confessing to me, where I didn't really hear what they were saying. And then when they were done talking, I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, just say 3 prayers.
Mm.
This sounds like an easy job. Do they get paid for this?
Well, they get a place to live and food.
Sounds, I guess, reasonable. So I guess getting excommunicated means you have to get a real job and
Yeah,
find housing
you have to go out into regular capitalism if you're.
like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Well, But so you've got all this burden. You can't tell anybody. You can't tell even the police. You could even have another priest tell you what they're doing as long as they tell you in a confessional setting. And you can't do anything about it, apparently. You can't tell anybody unless you want to be a vigilante and take matters in your own hands. But isn't that also usually a sin? Darn, you're just like catch 22 here.
I was
I'm
born
asking.
in, so why not continue just doing it?
Cool.
I say you take.
We knew what you meant.
You say what now,
I
Tyler?
say that you tell. I don't care about none. I don't care about that. I don't care about that nonsense, man.
The cooling effect. The oh no,
can't be-
now bad guys won't come forward and confess their crimes in a
I
setting
don't
where
wanna hear
they
all
weren't
that.
going to get
That's
trouble.
how
Undermines everybody's faith in the system. If
I don't want to hear all that, man. That's ridiculous. Like it just
I have
sounds
a question.
ridiculous.
I have a question. Does anybody know? So you're telling me like when I confess my sins in the confessional, like I thought the whole thing was like so they don't have to see my face and I don't have to be embarrassed. But they'll just
You're-
walk up to me afterwards and be like, "Oh, so okay, so you're masturbating, Ryan. How many times are you masturbating?" Is that how they really do that?
No,
I thought that was-
outside, no.
Okay, so wait. So aren't people's little spine like hairs on their spine going to be like going up and shit when the priest is coming up to you later on and like trying to talk to you about like, okay, so what did you do to the girl? Like they're gonna know
Oh,
something's
right.
up. If you don't know, like you know what I'm saying? Like that's the whole point. Is
Yeah,
like,
why would you bring
Yeah,
up
like they're not gonna come.
confessional?
right?
You gonna talk? Like you start
That's
doing
gonna
like.
be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Does
Some
he
Exactly.
have
people say, well, I'm going to try to start the conversation off somewhere else so that leads him
So
to naturally talk about
the bigger question is the bigger question is be how many do they have that have confessed to that? That's already done it.
Well,
Is that what they're worried about? Are they worried about the fact that there could be some kind of like retroactive thing? And if you have listened to some confession about abuse and now you have to like could they do that? Oh boy.
that would be bad if that ever did happen.
Oh boy. There'd be a line at the station.
maybe
The signal would be busy.
maybe that says more about what we already know is the right thing to do here.
Yeah, we know what the right thing to do. This ain't even. I can't believe you debating it. Not you, but I can't believe that is an actual thing that people are opposing. I said, like, yo, that,
Thank you.
That don't
It's
make
always
sense.
about money. That's why
It
ours
is
is $5. It's always about money.
$5, yeah. Give me that money.
These
Yeah,
people,
money.
Some of these people are living in totally different universes, I guess. Because I said like that just don't make sense to me. Like I just can't even wrap my, I can't even listen to the arguments because I don't care because you're not going to convince me.
But the thing
Like-
is, if you actually listen to the other, like the people who are in the right mind, all of their arguments blow each and every single one of these illogical arguments out of the water.
Because in my mind, like from my
You
mind,
look
to jump in, heck yeah, you tell. Heck yeah, you tell, no matter who you are. And
right.
they're like, but I just.
But what they're
How are other
doing.
people going to know?
Okay.
Like, are you telling me the predator is going to be like, well, it was my pastor. My pastor's the one who turned me in for raping kids. Like, how are people even going to know? I know. I'm so confused.
Here's the thing. If y'all want to say, okay, I don't want to seem like I'm bargaining and wavering, but at the least y'all can do is give some help the investigation. You know what I mean? Like I said, maybe
Right.
okay, you don't want to be super involved, but just tell them and say, and then that's all we need you to do.
And that was actually a very
that way you got all the information, and then they go get all the evidence, and they don't need you anymore.
That was a specific carve out in this legislation, right? Was that priests can be questioned about child abuse cases?
Yeah, they should. I mean, they should. I mean, it's just weird that you got to have this kind of like this like trying to formulate this thought process around. The answer is simple. Yes, y'all don't need to tell. Like, it ain't no
Why
debating.
are you trying to protect it?
It ain't no debating in my book.
It's
Ain't
so
nothing.
weird.
They can talk. Ain't no debating. It ain't no debating, man.
I mean, like 99% of it is they're just child abusers that want to protect child abusers. Is what it is.
That's what it seemed like.
The 1% of it is fools who think that that's not what it is. And
It's like they're saying you shouldn't. You should not be required to tell about a crime that was committed. Like, oh, well, then it's almost like saying if okay, I don't murder people, so there doesn't need to be laws about murdering because I don't murder.
right,
They're saying like, well, we're cleaning things up. That was the bad stuff was back in the 50s and 60s. We don't do it anymore. But sorry, it doesn't work like that. Like we have to operate on like everybody's level here. And so yeah, we got to write laws that say like don't diddle kids and don't kill people. Sorry if you're the perfect organization, Catholic Church. Like
right.
great for you, so happy for you. And if you're so great, then you really shouldn't be worried about it because there's probably not going to be that many confessions, right?
Man, that is just that is.
Sorry, that was a rant.
Good rant.
Well, she had also made another point, and I quoted her here. She said, discouraging parishioners to talk to their priest is likely to result in abuse continuing, which, if they can't.
Based on what data?
Hold on, what?
Actually, what
because if they can't confess, they're going to just be so built up and angry inside, they're going to keep doing it more.
Say that again. What'd she say?
She said discouraging parishioners to talk to their priests because they know that they will, go to the authorities, will discourage them. And so discouraging them to talk to their priest is likely to result in abuse continuing.
Man, it's going to continue anyway because you ain't going to do nothing.
They're basically saying
it.
these priests are so good that they
you're
can
not
stop
gonna do anything
happening. They got the Midas touch.
Dumb.
And when there's a law, like when there's a really bad law on the books, and I've got an example right off the top of my head in healthcare, oftentimes what can happen is people will find ways around the rule, right? To still try and do something, right? That's nature.
Right.
And so, they're saying that, well, gosh, if we make this a rule, then everything's just gonna be terrible, right? But they're the ones who made the rule themselves within their own religion that they have this unbreakable right that has to be done. And then later, this priest guy that I really don't want to watch. This guy, he's the one that testified
face gives me nightmares. He looks like the Verseratu. What's that guy's name? Nosferatu. He looks like
something like that.
ah!
This guy. This guy.
Where's
Yeah, why-
Jonathan at when you need him? Jonathan, I need the Nosferatu
Why would they-
meme, please.
Why would they pick?
I'm
the most-
sorry, Jay. I'm really
would they
sorry. I
pick?
understand this is it's a shit discussion. It's horrible. We have to argue about this.
Why would they pick the guy that looks like he just looks like that type? Why would they do that?
He looks milky.
I don't
You
even
look
know.
like when you look if it's like when looking at, if it would have came out like yeah that guy did something, I like yeah. Look like it.
If you had to pick somebody out of the lineup
Yeah,
who you thought did something bad,
I'm judging. I'm judging on
You, you are.
you-
That's okay though.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
got-
he said something kind of stupid. Basically, what he says, and I'll just paraphrase it here. Like he says that priests are like priest who breaks the seal of penitent privilege, like would they cannot break it. They will not break it.
Wait.
Consequences. Excommunication, and it can't be changed locally. Like we can't just make it be okay that priests here don't have to do that because it is globally and even the Pope can't change it. Okay, so it is an unchangeable thing that they created. That somebody else makes an argument that it was to hide up child abuse within the Catholic Church in the
But what
1300s.
what about these states where they are compelled? So
Yeah.
they're sinning.
Yeah. I noticed that nobody really has anything to say about that on the Catholic side of it. On the
I find that very
On.
confusing. Where some states it's okay to operate, per the law, but
and they're
these
not like
it's gonna change the world.
Right.
Blame it on Jesus.
So yeah, I think the consequences, in my opinion, of do I choose between a child getting abuse stopped and an abuser not continuing to abuse more children, over a priest who got excommunicated because they made their own stupid rules that won't carve out a really good thing for a person in a community, then I don't care. Why would you even want to be there? Why would you want to worship that God?
Yeah, a God who doesn't protect children. No, thank you. That's not the kind of building I want to step foot in. It's not a familial building, that's for sure.
Man, this is
Not a sacred.
man,
It's not
you know
a
what's
sacred
crazy?
space.
This
It's not a
is-
protected space.
This is a group of, and this is just men. It's not even worse. It's like why would you? Like, come on, man. You just
No.
man,
Is
you
the
look
guy
like-
on the screen right now defending the bill?
No.
Or-
No, he's just one of the House members. I just posed it on him because I didn't want to stare at his face.
Nosferatu.
Would
Nosferatu.
you like to listen to what he has to
Yeah,
say?
let me hear what
Let me
Lahoma's
get up.
got to
Let me
say.
get up. Yeah,
His name?
hit play.
Bishop Frank Schuster, one of 5 bishops who shepherd over 1 million Catholics in Washington state. Although the church opposes HB 1211, we agree with the spirit of it. I'm grateful to the victim survivors who courageously share their story. The church failed them. The sex abuse scandal that came to light in 2001 was an earthquake in our history. However, our zero tolerance policy and safe environment programs enacted later in 2001 have made the church a leader. 20 years later, other organizations, including our public schools, can learn from us if you look at the data. All employees, volunteers, and priests are trained in safe environment and are mandatory reporters.
Don't care.
The only exception is the sacrament of reconciliation, also known as the rite of penance. The seal of confession is inviolable. The priest cannot and will not break it. The consequence worldwide is excommunication and cannot change locally. This bill makes children less safe and not more safe. This bill will likely result in priests only hearing confessions anonymously behind a screen with no face-to-face option, which prevents us from being able to identify kids who are in trouble or for an abuser to see how serious we are with the expectation that they turn themselves in. It makes it difficult for us to schedule an appointment outside the confessional where the priest then becomes a mandatory reporter. This bill will also have a chilling effect on the tens of thousands of Catholics in Washington state who want to confess their sins without worrying that their sins will be reported due to a misunderstanding. We agree with the spirit of the bill, however, and want to be partners in revising the bill so it does not violate our parishioners' constitutional freedom of religion. Thank you.
What more do we need to
Thank you.
revise? That's
This-
the crux of the argument. That's the issue here. There's no other way of getting around what they need from you, which is to report perverts.
Paul Blart.
And again, I noted that again, he thanked the victims.
Yes.
He was grateful to them when that beautiful, I apologize, I don't remember her name, but the Jehovah's Witness, or I believe it was, he said like that it was offensive to say something like that, and it feels diminishing to thank a victim and be grateful.
I didn't mean to do that.
I was like, did
Yeah,
I was-
remember
'cause I didn't know I had
my
clicked.
psychiatrist soon to tell her I have schizophrenia.
Hearing voices, huh?
Yes, I am. Did you yell at her anything recently? Have you?
Okay, so I can't believe he said that too. I didn't catch that the first time because I was like busy and I was listening. Senator Frame totally called him out on that. If you guys recall, she slammed him pretty damn good for being like, fuck you for your good intentions here, but you seem to not care about the actual results of what happens. And as you say these things to us, we are in great pain. There are some teenagers in here. There was a school that had like 6 kids at the very least come, and we can see their testimony, and it is, some of them, it's just, I'm proud of them, and there's just some heartbreaking shit that they say, and I can't believe he just can phrase that shit right back into the next one. Sorry, I guess you don't learn from.
No,
he really didn't like take any of that to heart because he just can phrased it and just vomited it right back out.
They keep repeating the same talking points. You could learn from our record.
Like, what else is, because there's nothing else for them to say. What else they gonna say?
You should.
They can't argue from no other point.
I agree with he agrees with the spirit of the bill, Tyler. He agrees with the spirit of it.
If anybody wants to make memes, I think Paul Blart, Reverend, or pedophile Paul Blart would be a good one. Pedo Paul Blart.
Who?
Church cop. No, church.
Oh.
We got to figure out his title. He's not a bishop.
Pedo Paul Blart. I don't know, but that's basically the best thing I can figure out what he looks like the most.
That boy said, I agree with
They cannot, will not break the privilege.
Pull up the picture one more time to see.
Oh, sorry, I didn't. I was just stopping sharing it because of that stupid.
She got rid of Nosferatu.
I know we don't like to look at him, but like, does he look like Paul Blart or anything better than that?
Yeah, he's got that milky color with the haircut and the glasses. It could pass. All white men look the same.
Yeah, he looks exactly like me. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, okay. I don't really want to listen to this guy so much. What did he say? This guy over here, he had to say it's bad, it's unconstitutional, it won't prevent child abuse, so why bother? Attorney-client privilege, blah, blah, blah.
Creep, blah, blah, blah.
Did you guys saw The Client? Like, do you guys remember that old movie? Like 90s movie, John
Yeah,
Grisham?
I remember.
Remember The Client?
Mhm.
Wasn't the whole point that the guy fucking blew his brains out because the mob told him where he buried the body, and he just like, it was too much pressure to like, I don't remember. Wasn't that the whole point of the thing, is that he then told the kid what he broke the attorney-client privilege to a child.
Oh,
dang.
It's been a while.
Anyway, I question the. Okay. Do we or do we not think that it's at least a good idea, or is it to even attorneys to have like is it a privilege? Like, again, whose privilege is it? But if you commit a crime and you tell your attorney you committed the crime, but their job is to get you a deal, get you out of it, whatever, right?
Right.
They are not, nobody's going to ask under a court of law to the attorney, do you or do you not know that they confess to you that they did the crime, right? Because then, right, now I can see you go down a slippery slope of, well, then, what will that do? How will that harm
Agree.
people's chances
Look,
of
look,
a
look here, look
fair
here.
trial?
We're not even, man, that's too complicated. All we asking you to do
I
is,
know.
hey, man, if this kid's in trouble, hey, man, say
I
something.
hear you.
Like, why is it stupid? This is
Why is
stupid.
this even a
This
problem?
is
Why are we
stupid.
fighting this point? I am.
This is dumb. This is a waste of time
I don't disagree
and
with you.
money. There's other things that could be going on and get solved.
But the
And this is a waste.
Constitution.
This is a waste of time.
Constitution.
Unfortunately, it's a waste of time that they want. That's what they want. That's all they want. That's all they care about, wasting our time and our money.
Okay, great fucking point. Attorneys pay taxes. Your priests don't. They might be free, but again, usually you're paying money if you're a person who goes enough that they recognize your face and know who you were. If you confess something, you probably already put a lot of money into that one.
Oh yeah, if you're going in a confessional, you donate money. Yeah, they ain't gonna let you. They're gonna let you know.
If your check's big enough, you probably can confess whatever you want. So you're gold. Add a couple zeros, you're good to go.
Zeros to your pocket, then you get the.
You think Jeffrey Bezos has multiple priests on standby to tell all his sins to?
That's interesting, Ron.
Yeah, I'm curious now. Ron says that there's some states that don't mandate an attorney-client privilege, or they're mandated to report the crime if they do confess it. So
Interesting. I'm very curious to know which state. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm curious to know what states those are.
Get away.
No, look, I'm not. I just want to know. It's not for a friend.
Then this wouldn't be a problem, right?
What was that?
I said, if you weren't guilty, then this wouldn't be a problem, right? Isn't that what people say all the time? Like,
right.
You should just comply. If you didn't do anything wrong, then what's the problem?
Right. But yeah, I want to know what states those are so I can move to them. I like those states. I want every state to pass that law. That's what I'm asked.
Yeah.
I noted how he repeated it twice, that he agreed with the spirit of the law, and she said the same thing. So they must have like a booklet.
Oh,
they must be like having some kind of memo that
I believe in the Holy Spirit of this law.
Yeah,
I
believe in the Holy Spirit of this law.
The spirit. That's stupid. We over here talking about children. You talking
True,
about
Jay. I think that's the real question.
Well, that's my point about
yourself knowing.
Man, we over here talking about children. He over here talking about the spirit of something, man.
I know. Right?
Where are you?
The
you gonna stop playing around? Get serious? Like, golly, grow up.
Let's see.
Okay, you don't get excommunicated. Grow up. That means you don't need to be there.
Right?
I wouldn't want to be in nothing like that.
I'll go right into the church and tell people why I was excommunicated, just so you all know. You got a pervert.
I'm gonna tell every chance I get.
I'm gonna tell about that pervert.
Okay. I want to play just this one section of this guy. So this is the guy that said, it's not going to prevent any abuse. Why bother? Attorney-client privilege, blah, blah, blah. Right? Okay. And then she has something to say. And then, like, she asks him, it's not this point, but, like, in just a minute, she'll ask him a question. And it's just, like, he gives his answer. And it's, like, the most awkward silence I've ever heard. So I just want to play it. My bad.
The prosecution and what happened over in Spokane, just looking at this, Gonzaga was actually deemed the retirement community for retired priests who had committed sex offenses. So I'm just curious, I'm trying to gauge who has some information of what's been going on in Spokane as a place where folks who are being put, who have confessed to child sex crimes. And this is related to the AG's investigation and prosecution for using charitable funds to, I don't know if it was settlements that were paid out or cover up funds for sexual abuse scandals, and the number of priests that were housed in Spokane near Gonzaga and near a K through 12 school.
The cases in Spokane involve decades ago, incidents of child abuse. There's no question that what was done was illegal, and the question that arose was whether or not men in that situation should be housed at a place like Gonzaga University. It has nothing to do with the question whether a current priest listening to a confession in which child abuse is admitted, whether that clergy should report that to the legal authorities in the same way that an attorney might be forced to report what his client says to him when he's defending that client in a criminal case.
Looks like we might have a follow-up, Representative Hill.
Yes, I keep hearing the statement that this was decades old, and I'm looking at reports that show incidents happening all the way through mid 2000, like up to like 2007, 8, 9, 10. So in terms of saying that these things are decades old, I'm not sure if we're looking at the same information there. And so I guess the follow-up is, are you familiar with the fact that there are more recent cases?
I think all of the recent cases stem from the very long statute of limitations that applies to child sexual abuse, and the fact that a case that occurred decades ago may still be brought today, even though the abuse occurred decades ago.
Thank you.
Did you know that Amazon has a $50 million fund that will have to pay out every
Poor answer. Yeah, they're mostly from a long time ago because of the statute of limitations. They're just getting them in now.
Yeah, we got a backlog. We ain't even counted.
We just have a backlog. That's all. It's not a big deal. We just have a backlog.
Yeah, we haven't got to the new ones yet.
Right. We don't know about.
Hey, bro, do you know what
They're
they're
not
saying?
mandated to report, so we don't know.
Are you plugged in? Are you tuned in? I don't think you understand the words that are coming out.
Man, that is wild.
Oh
Yeah.
man, guys, I don't living in a world where people just think it's okay to cover up things like this.
Okay, so what did Ron say? He said learned more about these kids. So these kids were like Lake Washington High School or something. And it just seems like I think there's clearly one very heartbreaking story here, and some friends that seem to be incredibly supportive, if I'm reading this correctly. And I don't even know if I can play it. It's just so freaking heartbreaking. But it's definitely worth watching for these kids. And they came out here and they really, I don't know, like nobody had anything to say, that's for sure, which is a little frustrating at some point, right? Because you're like, where's the dialogue now?
Preachers at?
What's that?
Where the Catholic priest at now? They ain't gonna respond to the kids.
Yeah, well, I mean, this isn't a debate amongst people on the floor, obviously. It's just
So that guy doesn't patronize the kids.
forum. What's that? I'm sorry.
That guy doesn't patronize the kids like he did the women last time.
No, because the setup is different. So as you can tell, like you can't see as much of the room and everything. But he also was remote this time.
Oh, right.
Because he fucking embarrassed himself so bad last time and got slammed. We should.
I'm not even gonna leave the house next time.
I was so satisfying. And he was such an ass. And they really slammed him for that publicly. And then he had the nerve to just rehash all that same garbage.
I'll get up next time.
By the way, we've got more we've got to watch, and I think I need something a little let's see. I mean, I'm wondering if I should just jump to it. Hold on. Hold on.
Yeah, use the restroom.
Oh,
You
well,
say you
fine
gotta-
then. Be that way. Let's see. I'll skip around here. There's something this guy has to say that I wanted to see. I'll just do it really quick so we go in order.
Robert, whenever you're ready, please unmute and go ahead.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to be here. Mr. Chair and committee members, I represent Clergy Accountability Coalition. My name is Robert Fontana. I am an active Catholic who still goes to confession as needed. In 2003, while working for the Diocese of Yakima, I learned that a man whom I was helping prepare for ordination to the diaconate had molested his two nieces, one 10 years old. I escorted that man to the police station, but on returning to my office, I could not persuade the bishop to do an internal investigation to determine if this man had molested altar servers that he trained. The man told me that he had told only one other person, the parish priest in confession. The priest did nothing to keep this man from becoming a deacon. Had the man's nieces not told their mothers, he would be a deacon today. I challenged other cases, a priest in possession of child pornography, a deacon who raped a teenage boy, a priest who sexually assaulted a teenage girl. All these cases happened after 2003. The seal of confession has been misused to protect sexual predators. While confidentiality in confession is appropriate for the vast majority of sins shared with the priest, the abuse of a child, youth, or vulnerable adult is not one of them. I urge you to pass House Bill 1211.
Okay. That wasn't actually the one I meant, but I really liked what he said.
So there was a guy who confessed and they still allowed him to become a deacon?
No, they didn't. He was saying that because he turned him into the police, and he said had the kids not told his mother, he would have became a deacon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they were trying. They're basically going to let it happen. Thankfully.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Can you? And how many times has that happened?
Oh,
Uncountable.
we don't know because they don't say nothing.
Unknowable.
My oh my.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next up, we have Reverend Connell. And if we could please have on deck Mitch Mullane. Reverend, whenever you're ready, please go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon, and thank you for allowing me to speak. I am Father James Connell. I am a Catholic priest of the Archdiocese of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It should be noted that I'm speaking as an individual person and not as an official representative of the Catholic Church. I strongly support House Bill 1211 because no law that hides or protects criminals should be justified or considered a good law when that protecting the criminals simultaneously endangers children or vulnerable adults. There are teachings in the Catechism of the Catholic Church that support my position. I especially note today paragraph 2266, which says in part, safeguarding the common good, legitimate public authority has the right and the duty to inflict punishment proportionate to the gravity of the offense. Hence, criminals must be held accountable for their crimes and pay their debts to society. But first, the police and the criminal justice system must know about the crime, and hiding and protecting criminals does not serve this end. There are other teachings in the Catechism concerning truth, reparation, and the common good that could be cited. So in my opinion, no valid freedom of religion argument rooted in the absence of truth and justice can provide moral justification for sheltering perpetrators of abuse or neglect of children. Finally, I would like to mention that to the best of my knowledge, doctors and other medical personnel are mandatory reporters in all or at least most of the 50 states but without any type of an exclusion privilege that we have concerning the priest. And yet I know of no people who don't go to their doctor because the doctor is a mandatory reporter. If they've done nothing wrong, they have nothing to worry about. And the same would be true for people going to confession or for confidential conversations with clergy. They would have nothing to worry about. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Father. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. Thank
What
you.
an excellent point.
Yeah.
Your medical doctor, your healthcare records, those are all private, privileged information that is not something that you can just give. Like, if I just start giving out people's healthcare problems,
That's HIPAA,
I
baby.
would be
All it sounds
prosecuted by
like
the
is
law.
all it sounds like is
They're
a bunch. It
required.
sounds like people say, like the only thing you worried about is being found out. Like, see, the only people,
Right. It's gonna cause people to be upset.
If you're at that level, you don't need you go straight to jail.
Right.
But here's the thing though, they would still go. They're not gonna tell you that.
Right. Worst case scenario, they're just not going to freaking confess anymore. Okay. Big whoop-de-doo. The priest or the pastor, the bishop's not going to be able to get his rocks off by hearing you confess your dirty little secrets and how
but the things that people
touch yourself.
But the things that the things that people are confessing about personal aren't like illegal things. Like if you go on, like the only people who are not going to go anymore, you're going to like, oh,
you're only going to call off maybe the true pervs, but they don't.
Yeah, they're the ones who are not going to go, and it's going to be pretty obvious. Like, man, he used to go pretty regularly.
Right. Like why all of a sudden?
All of a sudden now you don't go.
Mr. Smith down the street, like he is anti-church.
Yeah, he don't even confess no more.
He's starting his own church, actually.
Well, good on this guy for putting his name and face out there in support of this bill, even though he is an active member.
That's brave. I like
that. And the only one to actually try and dress up the background of his adorable, clearly laptop just sitting on his desk in a room. I saw everybody else had theirs up and you can see everything in the background of their house. It was like he put a little book up with the cross and stuff in the back. Like he tried to look, I care.
He looks like he reminds me of what's his name? He looks like Brain from Pinky and the Brain. Yeah, like the shape of his head is like it looks like that.
Yeah, no, I think he makes a really great point, right? Like,
he made some really good points.
Is it the doctor's fault that somebody is going to avoid health care because they know if they go to their doctor that they might end up having to report the abuse?
Right.
Is it the doctor's fault for that? No.
Because the kids ain't going in the confessional and telling them that.
Well, that's what they're trying to claim is that children are now.
I don't think that.
They said that
I don't know.
The kids are going to feel guilty and not want to confess their sin. Like
that, but it's not their sin.
I know, but children sometimes do think, like if you're being abused, you might be
they caused it,
convicted or convinced by the abuser that it's their fault, that they caused it. Yeah, it's manipulation.
Very humanitarian the way that she put it.
But
they don't do nothing. If they don't do, they don't do nothing. They ain't gonna do nothing.
Well,
they
also to say,
it's like we don't want to do nothing.
Right. We don't want to do nothing. And if we have to do something and people know we have to do something, then they're not going to want to tell us anymore. Okay.
They don't tell us stuff that we wasn't going to do nothing about anyway.
Right. About something you weren't going to do about anyway. But you legally, your hands are tied. But the thing is like one of the arguments that the lawyer made, she had continued on in one of her quotes, and she had said that young victims who go in like thinking that they're the ones who've committed the wrong and the crime, but they were the victims and they are confused. They might not go and confess their crimes, right? That they think they committed because they'll know the priest can tattle on them, right? And get them in trouble.
Kids just know this. Kids
right. I know. Well, my point is, what are you guys doing in your stupid sermons all the time if you're not using that opportunity to tell kids that, hey, if somebody abuses you, you are not the one that's responsible. Why wouldn't you just make that as part of your sermons to make sure children know we're a safe space? If you want to tell us that somebody's hurting you, you should tell us. What's so wrong with that?
Yeah, that way you don't even have to go. That way you don't have to go confess as a confessional
right.
thing. They wouldn't even be going through this problem if they were. You can't even tell them outside the confessional thing, so it don't matter. You weren't gonna do nothing no way. No matter when they tell you, you ain't gonna do nothing. They don't want. They ain't gonna do nothing now. They ain't gonna do nothing then. They wouldn't never plan on doing nothing. They want to keep doing nothing. No nothing. No nothing is what they want to do. Nothing.
Well, I'm planning on going and doing nothing, laying in my bed.
There's
doing nothing for a few hours.
There's a couple more really quick I want to make sure we get to. There's two people we saw in the last one, but they say something different. And then there's another guy who's an ex-Jehovah's Witness elder, and he talks about all the child abuse that he was witness to, sorts. Pun intended. Okay, hold on. Let me. I'll just hit play.
Thank you. Vice Chair Cortez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next up, we have Mitch Moline. And if you could please have Ryan Dudley on deck ready to go. Mitch, whenever you're ready, please go ahead.
Hello, my name is Mitch Moline. I'm here to urge you to pass HB 1211 without exemption.
You recognize him?
Over the past few days, House Republicans and Christian conservative policy groups have been very proud of a retweet by President Donald Trump. This was made by Representative Walsh. He was very proud of getting retweeted by Ted Cruz and President Trump. This was regarding another amendment that failed that had to do with school employees reporting child abuse. In part, Walsh said, the Washington Democrats' position shielding even for a few days school employees who rape or sexually abuse children in their care is insane, indefensible. And yet imagine the total hypocrisy of groups like the Christian FPIW and the Washington GOP legislators who reshared that post, crying outrage over schools having 48 hours to report abuse, and then unapologetically asking their supporters to oppose making clergy mandatory reporters. When it comes to their church, they seem to lose the outrage, even though churches not only don't have a 48-hour time limit, legally they never have to report child abuse they are aware of. So I'd like to use Jim Walsh's words. Shielding churches and clergy who learn about the rape and sexual abuse of children in their care is insane. It's indefensible. I would ask you to please take note of those who are most likely paid to be here today versus the overwhelming show of those who are here today for the sake of doing the right thing. The Catholic Church's lobbyists who are here today either ignorantly or callously disregard the way these laws with exemptions allow other faith communities to shield predators and fail victims and frame this as only a historical issue. That's offensive. There are predators who are known by clergy today who are being shielded. The Catholic Church is not the only religious organization that is morally bankrupt on this issue. They're just the richest and the loudest. Please enact this law.
Snap.
Do you need some ointment for that burn, Catholic Church? Ouchies.
Ouchie wouchies.
That hurt.
Slam.
He said, I'd like you to take note on who's paid to be here.
Yes.
Lobbyists versus people who are, actual victims and care about human beings.
Where are all the testimonies of people who were saved by the priest not, breaking the seal of confession?
Right. I just want to say thank goodness he didn't talk about how I've harmed people. Yeah.
All right. There's two more.
Vice Chair Cortez.
Mr. Chair, now we have Ryan Dudley. And if we could please have Melissa Navarez on deck. Ryan, whenever you're ready, please unmute and go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Thank you for allowing me.
I'm sorry, he's cool, but that's not who I meant. Hold on.
Sylvester Stallone.
You do.
Sorry, I want to.
Let me show you why I stopped paying for all my.
Let me show you why I stopped paying for all my.
Why I stopped paying for things.
Ads.
Boo.
Boo, everybody's mad now.
Formerly served as an elder in the Christian Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, and I am here in favor of this bill. I'm a fourth generation Jehovah's Witness and served as an elder for over 15 years before stepping aside due to child abuse reporting issues. In California, there's a law that includes an exemption for confessions, and this exemption is problematic. It allows elders to hide abuse under the penitent privilege. See, Jehovah's Witnesses, we don't have a formal confession process. Instead, elders are elders 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Any conversation that is had between an elder and a congregant can be considered part of that penitent privilege. And so often, reporting of these things is not does not happen, and especially when the abuser is either an elder or a relative, which is often the case. During my years as an elder, I became aware of at least 31 different instances of child abuse that should have been reported. Only one of them was, and that case led to an arrest. The rest went unreported. In the official textbook for elders entitled Shepherd the Flock in chapter 14, it directs elders before they do anything to call their legal department and get direction from them as to how they should handle the situation. That's unacceptable. That should read, they need to call the authorities. With us in a state of Washington with a population of 8 million people, there are so many people that need protection from this bill. I encourage you and urge you, please, to pass this law in Washington without exemption, because as—
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're good.
Vice Chair Cortez.
Damn.
Got a little cut off there, but still, it's, it's good that they hear these things too, and that it's not just one religion. This isn't just about Catholics. They're making it about themselves, and this was never about them.
That's what's funny.
It is funny.
Right.
We was all just thinking about the kids. Whoa.
But us.
I think you protest too much.
Yep.
The First Amendment is the most important. It's above the health and well-being of any child.
Right. Their personal protection, like their body autonomy, doesn't matter.
Right. This next one, I'm hoping you will all enjoy as much as I did.
I better if I don't.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next up, we have Sarah Young. And if you could
Remember
please
your buddy.
have Teresa Schremp on deck. Sarah, whenever you're ready, please go ahead and unmute and go ahead and get started.
Hi, thank you guys for your time. I first want to say something really dangerous was implied earlier by Jean Hill and Bishop Schuster, implying that child abuse is essentially something of the past. We're not going to do that. They are on the payroll from the Catholic Church. They stand to benefit a lot, and the church does as well, protecting pedophiles and not children. So we do need to level set that. I grew up in the Organization of Jehovah's Witnesses, and in the state of California, we have this bill with exemption, and a surprise to no one, it doesn't work. It's a loophole. It is not a protection. It is a loophole. It is a vague sense of security that we are being protected when we are not. Out of numerous reports of child abuse that I personally made to my elder body, thinking I would get help, only one was reported, and it resulted in an arrest. And as a surprise to no one, again, I got help and the abuse stopped. But the important part is it was only reported because they deemed that person was not part of the congregation. So they will continue to protect predators within the organization using this loophole. So it's a very clear line. You either protect predators or you protect children. There is no in between, and there needs to be no exemptions. So I urge you to pass this bill without exemption and protect the children in your state in the way that California has not.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
And in time. Disappointed? Were you disappointed?
Yep.
Very good.
No, but they are on the payroll. They are on the payroll of the Catholic Church. And you have good-hearted people who want to stop what happened to them from happening to other people. There's a huge difference there.
Yeah. Well, I honestly, there's a couple more people who talk. Another person who brings up Miranda rights and 1980 Supreme Court decision that people have the right to feel that they have a spiritual counselor to confess things to. I don't know. And then,
So
I think
wait,
there
why
was
can't
somebody
you
at the
confess?
end who had a
What
good
about a
point.
therapist? Is a therapist a mandated reporter too, I guess? I would
Yes, they
assume.
are. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they are. In fact,
So
if
a
you tell a
therapist would be a
therapist,
mandated reporter. Someone you pay. You're paying this person to
yeah.
Tell
tell
on
them
you.
your
There's
issue.
people are willing to pay people that know they can tell on them. You'll be all right inside your confessional. Like if people will pay knowing that people tell them, they'll go to your little confessional. Down here.
What I'm gathering from everything that we've watched is that Catholic churches and churches in general are the most dangerous places for children to be.
Basically, because they will protect the abuser.
Yeah, they're the only places that are legally protected for protecting abusers.
Mm-hmm. You've
It's
just
no
put
wonder it's a
the alert
haven.
out.
Yeah. Nobody's trying to prevent predators from preying, but we are trying to prevent them from preying on
Right.
children. And it is it's a perfect ground for it, right? It's a perfect place. It's where people are supposed to go to trust. Do you guys ever remember Jehovah's Witnesses and their conventions and things, and they'd say things like, it's the safest place to be.
Oh yes, I remember that, and I
Your wallet and
I
people
don't.
won't steal it. I
I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
That actually reminds me of
You
something,
wouldn't. Lucky you.
a Christopher Hitchens clip where he was asked if he would feel more safe if he was approaching a group of men or a group of people, like 4 or 5 plus people, if he'd feel more safe knowing that they had just left I can't remember what it was, a party or something like that, or a church. And he's like, well, I've been in that situation in Baghdad and in Istanbul and so on and so forth. And I did not feel safer with the people coming out of the churches.
Yeah, I think I remember him saying that. Yeah, I think it's pretty clear to me. Like, I confess. Your confession apparently can just stay right in here in this live chat on YouTube.
I'm not can be replayed at any time in the
I won't tell a soul.
But it will be saved here.
Yeah. All confessions are protected under lock and key and my forgetfulness.
All confessions come with a Creative Commons copyright license. Standard.
Your confessions are copyrighted. You own the right to your confession.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say about this anymore. Like, I feel like it's just so ridiculous we're even still talking about this.
Don't forget to like the stream.
So,
you crazy.
did they vote on the bill, or when are they going
No,
to?
not yet. I don't know when the voting is. I'll find that out and I'll keep you guys posted. They might. I think historically what they do is they have public hearings for the bills. They give the public a chance to speak on the bills, for, against, whatever. And then the Senate will vote on theirs, and if it passes, it'll then go to the House,
right,
and vice versa or something. And so and then I think they have their little floor debates where then we'll hear Senator Walsh probably, let's do a prediction here. Senator Walsh will not vote for this bill, and he will quote the constitutional right for freedom of religion over the fact that that was the person that was bashed for talking about, like, oh, can you believe the Democrats voted down a bill to prevent teachers from telling if their children, which I don't even know the details of it. Who knows what actually happened, but it involved child, mandatory reporting and in a school. And let's see, my prediction is that he will find it offensive that we would ever suggest that there's a comparison of the two and that the First Amendment right is the most important over the health and well-being of any child. Because how dare we go down that slippery slope of saying that we can't carve it out in this one instance, even though 6 states have already done it. That's my prediction. You all right there?
Pardon.
Don't die on us.
No dying, please. Deep breaths.
Yeah, but we're mandated not to report anything. So if you just
If I croak, I just
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
croak live and just
stay there.
bye. Like bye, Ryan.
Yep. That's your
Call
that's your
911. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's nice
Privilege.
to know you.
Yeah, this is a confessional, and nobody in the chat can say anything. They can't call nobody nothing.
You don't want to join the group of people that have died on stream, though. I don't know if that's a great group to be on.
Oh, gosh. I
Name
can't even.
one.
Huh?
Name one.
Who died literally while a movie was being filmed?
No,
or
on live stream.
Oh,
Online.
on live stream? Oh, well, that's probably the entire dark web. So
Yeah,
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about
I'm
dark
sure
web
there's
stuff.
probably people. They may have not. They may have been harmed, not like just croaked, but yeah.
Oh, well, that harming themselves or, yeah.
Thanks for that, Dob Stopper. Appreciate
You're welcome.
you.
Yeah, way to bring that. Yeah, way to take the mood down.
you brought the room down when we were talking about child offenses and mandatory reporting.
I couldn't let y'all get too giddy about it. I didn't want y'all too happy about
I think it just
child
shows
abuse.
our sick.
No, can't be too happy about child abuse.
It just shows that we are demented. And I thank religion for that. So
Yeah.
Not for me.
Well, I mean, it's definitely a big part of my dementedness.
I ain't got nothing.
Internet's the rest of it.
yeah,
nothing to do with me.
Ren and Stimpy is like 5%, and then there's probably like a little bit of Bart Simpson in there, and then the rest is like me. So
I remember seeing Russians like cutting people's heads off online when I was like 12 years old.
Stop her.
Jeez, you bringing us down, man.
Yeah. You guys are enjoying child abuse too much. We need to change the subject.
Well,
Well, on that note, good night, everybody. And
I think I want to go to bed.
we'll have extra nightmares. Thank you.
Sound like back alley stuff right there, buddy.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. It was good to see you. Let's is there anything that people can be doing currently in Washington other than contacting their reps and discussing this bill and why it should be pushed through? Do we know? I don't know if Ron's
So yes, I'm sorry. There are some links, and maybe I can just drop them in the chat or something here. You can go. So Washington State has a website, obviously, that you can go and look up every bill that's going to be proposed, and it's just like an easy button. You just click it, and you can send basically a message directly to your representatives. You just punch in your like zip code, and it'll pull up the representatives in the area, and then you can literally send them a personalized message. And
because people need convenience, because people will they just if there's too many clicks, they can't do it.
Oh, I know. I wouldn't have done it if Ron Pomo hadn't just handed me the link, and I was like, "What a handy thing this is! Thank you. I've already filled it out and done, and it was easy." So
That means jobs.
We needed a meme, Jonathan. You'll find it. You have to watch to figure the meme out. I'm not going to tell you. You just have to figure.
Yeah, make them have to find
what
it.
meme?
Don't tell him.
No, don't tell him. He has to figure it out.
He's going back. He's going to
I
go
don't
back.
know what's going on.
Okay, so guys, if I can remember, I might be able to put it into the description because I'm not sure if that will stay. I don't know if people watching later or because some first shows for some reason the live replay doesn't play, so I don't know.
Okay.
But remind me, and we can get it into the description.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. We'll go there and you can just say, and honestly, it's like 98 whatever is Washington State. So pick a zip code, guys. 98425, 98908, 98102, 98112. Pick one. Pick one. Pick a representative. Senator Walsh, let's see. He's in the Grays Harbor area. Let me see if I can find This is a good idea, actually.
It's a good idea.
Well, you might have put your name on it, just saying. But
yeah, but please, if you're able to do anything, you're in that area. That's excellent way to get it pushed. And obviously, in your state, like Pennsylvania, that's something we're still trying to figure out as well.
Yeah.
And I'll say down here in Texas.
Not in Texas. Apparently, it's the one thing Texas has got to figure it out. So
I'm actually really now
if
Texas can do it. Why can't these other states? If freaking Texas can do it,
Oklahoma. I mean, Oklahoma.
Even Oklahoma.
Texas,
right? Oklahoma. Like these are places I would have thought would not be the ones.
Mm-hmm.
They did it, so
yeah, because y'all probably got more Catholics up there.
it can be done. And
Yeah,
honestly,
maybe
it's all how you put it out to your members. It's
how
really
many Catholics do you think? Do you think that would
in
be?
Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall, however they're presenting the information, the Catholics can do the same exact thing. They can present the information to the church in a way that will encourage them and make them happy about it. You don't have to be like,
you're saying indoctrination is something that could be done in
Hey, what's
any
the
church?
question? What's the Jehovah's Witnesses home base? Like the main,
well, their main in New York, they have
Bethel.
Oh gosh.
Bethel.
Where they at?
Bethel.
Where they at?
Is it not Bethel?
Yeah, I know. I'm waiting for her to say whatever she's trying to say.
No, I was trying to think of the location. Go ahead. No, you're good.
Oh.
New York.
Well, I mean, it used to be in Brooklyn, New York, and then they sold it, and then it went like upstate New York, I think. Warwick, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, Jay got it. Warwick.
So where are the most Jehovah's Witnesses are at? Is it like a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses there?
No, that's where the cultiest ones are.
Right. Yeah, there's not really anywhere where there's like a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Like, yeah, like everyone was like it's just dead.
You go and you live there, right? You eat there, you cook there, you do jobs there. Like
it's like a compound.
It's a compound.
Oh, it's not like they're not living in the city. I thought like in the community. Like if
no, even when they were in Brooklyn, it was they had purchased several buildings in the area and were just using it like their own like personal, compound for over here we do this, over there we do that. They live there.
I was thinking like you move into a town and like majority of the town is like Jehovah's Witness. Like there's no place like that.
No, it's not like Utah is where the Mormons are. Right?
Yeah,
like,
you know what I'm saying. You go there like
No.
You know, like you think of Utah, you think Mormon.
You're in South
Latter-day
Baptist,
Saints is what they
right?
prefer to be called.
Yeah, I don't know. They're everywhere. They're international, but they're like a minority absolutely everywhere. Because it sucks and nobody really wants to do it. Sorry. Anyway. On that note, thanks for sticking with us. I know this was like sucky to talk about, but I personally appreciate getting the opportunity to just vent about this because it's so frustrating to know that this is what's going on. And I'm actually surprised at how many people don't really want to get involved and talk about it either. It's like, oh, well, I don't want to get involved with child abuse stuff. It's like, I mean, why are you afraid you're going to find out that Uncle Johnny over there is like, what's the deal? So I think for every abuser who gets away with it for long periods of time, there is a host of people who've been cleaning up after them, who've been making excuses for them, who've been hiding them, shielding them. So, it's difficult to make laws like this because people are afraid of like things coming out of the woodwork, right? Family secrets coming out. And that is very difficult to confront, emotional, and I understand that. But it is what helps perpetrate this to continue on and on and on. So,
yep.
Anyway, it sucks.
Thank you.
It's not easy, but I appreciate you guys sticking around and talking about it with me.
I guess.
you guys for coming. Good to see you. We'll see you next week. Don't forget to like and share and leave us a comment. If you're watching later on the replay, we'll try to get those links up. If you're in that area, then please push all the buttons.
Yes.
Go do what you can to get this bill pushed through.
Yes, go let all the local Washington legislators just get flooded with annoyance until they just go, yep, you're right. I am an asshole if I don't vote for this.
Yep. All right, guys, love you.
Night. Bye.
Bye.